Welcome to episode 48 of Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
I'm Liz.
And we are very excited and welcoming back one of our favorite Cocktail Hour authors, Winter Pennington.
Ta-da!
We just had to entice her with all kinds of goodies, but she's here and we're very happy. And just so you know, all of us are having something other than alcohol this evening. I'm having water. Liz, what are you having?
Dasani water.
Woohoo! I'm having actually Penta water. What are you having, Winter?
Orange Crush.
Very nice, very nice. So it's a non-alcoholic show, but I got to tell you, I have a little snap-on because I went out to the beach with a bunch of friends this morning. We got there at 9, and we've been drinking champagne all day long. So between the heat and the champagne and a little bit of water, I'm a little bit buzzed. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. There was no snorkeling.
I was just going to say, anything that happens on this show, well, we're just drinking naturally this way.
Right?
But so, I've been drinking champagne all day.
I have. Seriously, there was no snorkeling to be had. It was very depressing because the water is very, very, very agitated because of the storms that have been out. Yeah. So, I couldn't see like a foot in front of me, which is really sad. So it was basically, take my giant cup out in the water and my cap and my cool reflective shades and hanging out and drinking like fiends. It was great.
Sweet. That sucks that you couldn't go clam digging.
I know. It's just rotten. But that's okay. It was still it was still a good day, so I can't complain. Anyway, so we have Winter on because we want to talk about her newest offering. She has a new book out called Summoning Shadows, Rosso Luxuria vampire novel. And yeah, we're very excited about talking about this. But to do this story justice, we're going to read the promo from her publisher site, Bold Strokes Books. And here we go. Hopefully I'm not going to lisp too much. Epiphany has risen in clan status among the Rosso Luxuria vampires, declared elder and Inamorata. Thank you. To raise a hand against her is to raise a hand against Queen Renata herself. She has taken Iliara, the great siren Dracul, as her lover and ally, wearing Illyria's sigil as a sign of their unlikely alliance. While Epiphany bears her mark, Illyria holds her oath and hunts one of her own, the traitor Damocles, who seeks to destroy the vampire kind. Yet Damocles is not the only renegade Dracul who wants to see the fall of the Rosso Luxuria. The Draculian society is split in two, those who seek to protect Azrael's gift and those who seek to eliminate it. The Rosso Luxuria face enemies both old and new. Dismantling a reign of impending terror and uniting a clan is not so easily done when those close to you are all adept at keeping their own counsel and agendas. This is the second of the Rosso Luxuria Vampire series. So thank you, Winter, for coming on, and we're very excited about about talking about the book, which we both read.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep. So, how do we start this fabulous show? Liz, you want to start it out, or you want me to start it?
Let's start by talking dirty.
Oh, I like talking dirty.
First of all, one of my favorite from the previous novel, Darkness Embraced, was the Dracul sex, and I was very, very pleased that practically the first chapter was devoted to that kind of thing, and I was like, hot! Very happy about that.
Yeah, that was a start.
That was a way to, go with a bang. The thing that I've noticed in both of the novels, and I wanted to ask about it, is that there's a lot of edge play with Epiphany and Renata, and then I guess at a certain point in this novel, Illyria, is that her?
Yeah.
Illyria she also kind of got into the harder sex interaction. And I was wondering, number one, why you decided to put in there. Number two, have you gotten a lot of flame because of it?
A lot of flame? No. I wanted to do that because the Dracula are a more dominant species in my mind. And that's just how it came off on the page and how everything worked out. It didn't seem right to have Illyria dominant in the sense that Renata is, where Renata is very forward with her dominance. It seemed more appropriate for Illyria to be kind of at struggle with who she is, and with accepting the fact that Epiphany is a masochist, is a submissive.
Mm-hmm. And that was very apparent in Summoning Shadows. If you had any doubt in the first one, the first novel, the second one really brought that to the fore.
Yeah, the cutting scene, actually, that was really intense. And I've always been interested in novels that incorporate like dominant submission, BDSM, which is just like a huge umbrella for stuff. But what I liked about it was the darkness, and you don't find that level of darkness explored often in popular lesbian fiction. The two books that come offhand are like Leslie Gowan's The Collectors and Shadowland by Radcliffe, and those are the only two ones that really stick out in my head that, taste that darker edge of pleasure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think for me, with the stuff that I've read, what was lacking was the deep-seated emotional connection with it.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed more like anything that I read, it was more kind of surfacey. It was more about, this one likes pain, this one likes inflicting it. It didn't actually get down to like the nitty-gritty of sometimes things are just inherent in our natures, and it's not just a causing pain thing. For like Renata, it's something that makes Epiphany happy too. So
mm-hmm.
They're very balanced emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true.
You could see in Darkness Embraced, in the first scene where Epiphany meets Illyria, that she has more of that air that's similar in dominance to Renata, but not quite the same.
I gotta find Illyria's connection. I actually have more connection and empathy for the connection between Epiphany and the Illyria, because I feel, for nature, just because that, she's not like Renata in a lot of ways, but she wants to be dominant yet be equals, not have she would never treat Epiphany as a pet, and she also can't understand why being Renata's pet would be something that would bring her pleasure.
Yeah. Trying to think. I'm having to remember scenes from the books, too. So I'm having to go through a lot in my head. She's not as direct with it. She's not as accepting with it. Like, Renata's very accepting of who she is, knows who she is. But I think with Illyria, the big fear is that she is Dracula. She is a lot more powerful. So in Summoning Shadows, you can see where she's scared to go overboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why she holds herself back so much, is because she doesn't want to turn into this monster.
Mm. Yeah, it's like having two alphas in the room.
Yeah.
With Renata and Ileana, which is really interesting because I can see why you had them come to terms, especially with Epiphany, because, Epiphany is the glue that holds the whole thing together. And for the two dominants to find a way to be at peace with the whole threesome that you set up was really interesting. I really enjoyed that facet, too, of the story.
I think the only reason that they really came to terms is because they began to understand one another a little better, and two, they both realized that Epiphany was their glue.
Yeah.
Epiphany was that middle ground where they could meet and they could connect through her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also liked watching Epiphany grow from the point where she didn't even want to be in the same room with Renata to where she's basically telling them to stop bickering. You know, you figure that out between yourselves. I'm going to go take a bath.
She really threw some balls in parts of the
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that works.
Yeah, that was good. I really thought the tension that you built in the second one was superlative, because knowing that their whole lifestyle, the clan's lifestyle, was at stake because of, was it Damocles?
Yeah.
That, you know, he is threatening their way of life, and how you were able to continue to build that tension and reach out into other clans to try and form alliances was really good. Really good. Yeah, I like that.
You know, a lot of people said about Darkness Embrace is that it is solely focused on the Rosa Luxuria clan. And one of the things I wanted to do was branch out a little bit, make the world a little bit wider.
Mm-hmm.
Other clans function, see how other clans work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, meet the other kings and queens and whatnot.
Yeah.
And actually bring them together where they do have to work together in order to protect their kind as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that was just, you know, kind of my own innate curiosity as a writer of, hey, let's go there.
Yeah, and I think it adds more depth as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. I can't believe this damn, issue with the whole, hello, what the hell? I can't think of what it is. Oh, the postmenopause. I can't remember shit. But what was the antagonist that you had built? What was her name?
Lucretia?
Who? What?
Lucretia?
Marina, you mean? Or what
No,
book?
Marina. In the second one.
In the second one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Marina, who also added her sigil, her soul bond to Epiphany.
Yeah.
Girl, I didn't see that one coming.
I am more a pantser than a plotter, because anytime I plot, they're like, yeah, right. Watch this go out the window. No, seriously, there were times when I was writing Summoning Shadows that I actually sat down and I'm like, I'm going to write ahead. And I'm like, writing ahead. Sit at the computer next day and I go to type it out. I'm typing out stuff that is completely different from what I wrote down. I'm like, all right, apparently, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah,
kind of an idea. Like, there might be a little tiny thread I'll take from everything I wrote down by hand and put it into the computer,
Yeah. Yeah.
So why did you choose the tattoos, like the sigils, and did it just come off the top of your head to have it a deeper bond, like of a soul bond that if you harm one, you harm the other?
That just kind of naturally popped up on a page and worked itself in there. Now, the mark actually showed up in Darkness Embrace when Illyria first gives Epiphany the mark. And I knew I wanted that physical evidence of something. And when I was seeing the scene in my head, as I do, it's like a movie playing. I'm in it, I'm there. And that's what I saw was the veined, weird alphabet. I could never draw it, unfortunately, but that's what I saw in my head. And then, in the second book, when I was writing, it just happened that wasn't the deepest the connection could go. Mm-hmm. So it can go as deep as a soul binding, where their souls are actually, fabricated together pretty much, and you hurt one, you hurt the other, type of thing.
Yeah, it was interesting. I like that.
It's like sticking your hand in tar and trying to take your hand out with the other hand, and then you have two hands in the tar.
Yeah, it's almost like a thing where it blends their auras.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you rip out a piece of someone's aura, that type of thing.
Yep.
It's a mirror effect. But that was really on Marina's behalf. That was very clever.
Yeah, I think so.
That was pretty much her safeguard.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. And she's a character, and I like how you built that. She was not a sympathetic character in the beginning, because you're like, and you want to dislike her in the beginning because you don't know her, but you know what she did, and you're aggravated by what she did.
But she's still so intriguing. I was so intrigued by her. First moment she popped on page, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to stir the pot.
Where did she come from? Do you remember?
Let me try to remember when I was writing that scene. I think I was just as surprised as everyone else.
Really? Just came to you, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I'm enjoying the schizophrenic moment here.
Was better than postmenopausal, thank you.
But, the strategic choice that she made was a real good kind of checkmate. She's like, I have nothing to live for. I don't give a shit. I want to fuck Illyria over, and I know the best way to hurt her is to hurt something she loves. Now we're bound together. I can commit suicide without committing suicide and take away something valuable. You know, a package deal.
Though I think in the beginning it really was kind of like she was going on her vengeance type of spree and wanting to get revenge. And I don't think the binding in the beginning was necessarily to hurt Illyria. I think in part it was. I think another big part of it is because in that scene, I do believe Marina says something like, you can always best me in a fight. So it's pretty much like she's using Epiphany as her safeguard, her shield by binding her. Because kind of like, hey, you hurt me, you hurt your little friend here.
Yep.
So yeah.
Let's make that more permanent. I'm going to bite your wrist.
And of course, kudos to you because you did this whole polyamorous thing. That was awesome. So now Epiphany, she's like the belle of the ball. She's got her pick of who the hell she wants to bed down with for a night.
Liz, you asked earlier if I get flamed or anything like that. I do have some readers that are like, I don't get the polyamorous aspect. I do get that from people.
Really?
And it's kind of like, well, you know, I'm a monogamous person myself, but these characters are like 200 years old.
Yeah. As she gets old, I'm just saying.
You would think that, I'd like to think that they've evolved past the point of being like, okay, let's spend the rest of our lives with one person, which our whole lives is a freaking eternity, you know?
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you, Winter. I like that. But I'm just saying, that's just me.
I think, you know, what I loved was how it evolved starting at the end of the first novel and into this one is you get to see, you know, Illyria's feelings develop. Like at first it's almost like a thread that she wants to be cared about as much as Renata is cared about. And then, you know, in the melding with Epiphany, she forges a deeper bond to the point where she's willing to bind her soul to her, even before Epiphany, you know, verbalizes that she has love for her. And they're very different tops that were both interested in Epiphany. And I actually like to see them bicker like siblings because they were all too gracious at the end of the first novel. So it's nice to see how fucking human they are.
But when they work together,
golly! Do you know, it took me a second to figure. There's a scene in Summoning Shadows that I was trying to figure out.
Are we going to talk about the buggery?
So, I was trying to figure out, is she like piercing her skin or is she putting her finger up her ass? And it took me a little while later because Kuhn made a comment about, oh, so how does your ass feel? Well, how's your arms feel? So that cleared it up. But I had highlighted it in my iPad. I'm like, where the fuck is she touching her that it hurts? Just, like, I was thinking, could it be like a normal orifice? Maybe she just likes piercing flesh.
Yeah. I'm the type of writer. I don't like to be like, oh, she crammed a finger in her arse, because that's just not hot.
Yeah, true, yeah.
No, I like to approach things from more of an erotic angle, a sensual angle, you know, throw some emotions in there. And it's kind of like, well, how do you say nicely that she put her finger in her arse?
Mm-hmm, right.
You know? And then you're like, but you still want to say it in a way that the reader gets, this is what's going on here.
Yeah, and Illyria got that virgin aspect where Renata had the other earlier, which is kind of interesting, too.
Yeah, you would think that, because when I was writing that, I'm like, but you would kind of think that Epiphany and Renata might try that. And I'm like, well, not necessarily, because Renata's, the type of top that she won't necessarily do something that Epiphany does not enjoy.
True.
If you notice throughout the books, she always makes sure that it is something Epiphany enjoys. She always seems to know where Epiphany's line is. Where to cross it.
Yep. But of course, the Dracul crossed it. I like that.
Well, the other thing I was thinking of, because I'm a pervert.
You're a pervert. Hello. We're talking about the shit I write that's always raunchy.
That's awesome.
So, of course, immediately I think to myself, well, Renata's a beautiful, feminine woman. But the Dracul is a tall, sexy beast. So one of Dracul's fingers is going to feel a little different than Renata's when it is penetrating her back there. She's like, breathe. You have to breathe through it. I'm like, oh, dear God, how big are her hands?
Oh, that's too damn funny.
I don't think she's quite that big, Liz.
I'm teasing. But it's what occurred to me when I figured out what kind of...
Hey, at least she didn't use her tail.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. I was wondering if the tail was going to get involved somehow. That's what I was waiting for. And then when it wasn't, I was like, okay.
Well, Winter, I have hair issues. So I just was... I shocked myself when I first read Darkness Embraced and found that I thought the whole fur aspect was, like, hot. Because I didn't expect that.
As long as you're not licking it and getting it all.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't want all that in your mouth and shit. No. But I thought it was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, it's better than like a Brillo pad, right?
Yeah, no Brillo pads.
Yeah, let's have a really coarse ruff of fur that I have to rub up against. That's not hot.
Yeah, no, that's not.
I think your chin needs exfoliated.
Some exfoliation.
I come complete with my own sound effects.
That's not right. That is not right. So, of course, you left the story hanging because clearly there's another book that's going to be in the making. Yeah.
It wouldn't feel right not to write one. I mean, it's at this point where I really need to discover more of the dynamics now with the relationship, adding Marina to the bunch.
Sure. No, I just mean from the whole, the clans banding together and going to go try and kick Damocles' ass.
Yeah, I'm getting to see more of the Draculian society actually in it, because that's where the book leaves off, as you're there,
And I thought the Azrael character was inspired. I would love to see more of the Azrael character.
Yeah, he didn't really show up. It was more of the history.
Yes, but that was inspired.
His involvement.
That was awesome.
Definitely. Oh, I've been telling you for a while, I kind of wanted to play around with the Nephilim aspect, and that just worked itself in the story quite nicely.
Yes, it did. It really did. It really did make me want to see him pop up as more of a viable character. And, who knows where the third book will take you.
Yeah, to actually see him kind of in the flesh in the book.
Sure, yeah, I think it would be awesome.
Well, I think there were also in Summoning Shadows, I think that Illyria explains to Epiphany that there were a few Dracul that helped actually set up, well, they weren't the Dracul, they were the Malak, which are the, before the Dracul and the higher, the ancestry and stuff. But they just vanished one day once the Draculian kingdom was kind of set up, so you never know.
Yeah.
I never know what the hell my music's going to hit with. I just kind of sit there and take it like a bitch.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm looking for some really, really good action in the next book. Yeah, I really expect the action in the next book, which is good.
It'd be fun to try to write epic battle scene.
Hell yeah. And if anybody can do it, you can do it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your confidence in me.
I do. I have high expectations, most definitely. But I have to call bullshit. Yes, I have to. This is one of the times I have to call bullshit. And I don't do it very often. But I got to tell you, I got a little aggravated about Epiphany's 12-year-old girl hissy fit. that she had when Renata was kidnapped. Oh, by the way, listeners, there's spoilers. Like you wouldn't know that. But seriously, though, I got so aggravated how she's over 200 years old. Why would she have a piss fit like a 12-year-old?
Because she was devastated.
Oh, my God, that bothered me so bad.
I know. It was kind of like one of those things. It was like, do we keep it? Do we throw it out? And I'm kind of like, let the bitch go crazy.
And she did, too. Ripping up the roof.
She is allowed to have a crazy fucking moment when the woman she loves goes poof off in the distance with the enemy, and she has no idea what to fucking do, and she feels helpless, and, we all have our moments.
Yeah, she definitely had her moment.
Yeah.
Woo, Lordy. But thank God Eliaria, took her out of that moment and basically kind of, verbally bitch slapped her.
Yeah, and well, if that hadn't been in there, you would not have seen that connection with Eliaria.
Yeah.
So, you would not have seen that. Eliaria did not take Renata's place.
No.
But she stepped up as Epiphany's lover.
Yes, she did. And it was believable, too, Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely believable. She's like, what the hell? Come on now, sister.
No, it's never fun when bitches go crazy, but all the time.
That's awesome.
Even vampires have their moments, especially vampires.
Oh, God, that was good. That was really good. Yeah. Overall, I really, really enjoyed the story, and it's funny because when I had it on my iPad, I had it in like the landscape mode, and how it paginates or whatever the hell it's called. It came up to like 762 pages. And I thought, when I first started, I think I started it Monday afternoon after work. And I thought, oh my God, this is like epic, 762 pages. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I started it right now. Because I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, there's a lot to get through. No lie, 2 days. That was all it took.
Oh,
It was like, once I started it was hard to put it down.
Something, almost 400 pages, I think. I'd have to actually look because my memory's shot, but...
Oh my! I was like, "What the hell?" I literally 2 days after work, I was done with that, and I'm like, "It's done." Oh shit! And about the last, probably about 50 pages, I started slowing down because I'm thinking, "Oh crap! What's going to take Winter another year to write a sequel?" Damn it!
You should mention the text last night. We were talking. I asked Andy if she'd finished the book. She's like, "Yep, I finished it in 2 days." I'm like, what the hell? I work my ass off to write a longer book for you people upon request, and you still go through it like that.
I know, right?
I cannot write as fast as you guys read, damn it.
It's true. It's so true. But you know what? If it weren't good and we weren't all anxious and we're giving you shit, it'd be a different story. But seriously.
I love it. It makes me happy.
Yes, it makes me happy too. I just wish you could write faster.
It keeps me motivated, so you will not hear me complain.
Oh, that's good.
Not seriously.
I understand. So, what are you working on now?
I am working on the fourth book in the Cassandra Lyle series, Nightbound.
Nice.
And my plans for this one, I cannot divulge.
Oh, damn you and your cheap tricks.
Well, I do hope to see more of Avalia. Which is Leon and she that we saw on Bloody Claws. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually trying to incorporate zombies into this one.
Get the hell out.
I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to try it.
Nice.
We're going to see if the characters go with it and don't try to throw it back at my head.
Nice. What's that one character I like in that Cassandra Lyle series?
Yes. Eris?
Oh, yes, I like Eris.
We see Eris.
Are we going to see more of Eris?
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, because there's some...
Is there any more hot threesome action going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know if Cassandra is really the type of character to go there, but we'll see. Again, unless it's like dire emergency, obviously.
But it was an emergency. I had this threesome. It was terrible. I just needed the energy, and the way she gives energy is sexual.
Well, we always have epiphany.
Yeah, hey, it was convenient. No, that does there is more tension in Nightbound, obviously, because of what happened with Eris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
But it's mostly between Cassandra and Eris.
I like that Eris. I want her phone number. Just saying.
I like that, like, liquid jumpsuit she was in that, like, zipped all the way down to her happy place.
Her happy place.
I actually do research on this stuff. I wrote a short story about Eris, and she had a whip in one of the scenes, and I'm like, well, how do you take care of a whip? So I actually have to go and learn how to take care of a damn whip.
But did you buy your own whip?
I would, but no, I haven't yet.
Oh.
Take someone's eye out. I don't think my own.
No taking people's eyes out.
Probably be mine. I would probably come back on a backswing and be like, ah!
Oh, no, that's not right.
Speaking of cats with the meow sounding, I was reading a portion of the book, and Kuhn says Lug's balls. Isn't Lug's the name of one of your cats?
Lou.
Luke's. Okay.
Lou.
No, it's Lou, yeah.
Lou's actually a Celtic deity.
I imagine.
But that is the name of one of my cats.
Okay.
Of my big cat.
Who has gotten huge.
I know, he's gargantuan.
Oh my God, I saw a picture on Facebook. Oh, and listeners, friend Winter on Facebook. Just saying. And
so I control you with ponies and cats.
That's right, exactly. But I couldn't believe how big Lou got. It was like overnight. I mean, it's this cute little...
Just started busting out My Little Pony.
Holy crap. It started as this cute little kitten romping all over the house, and then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell is that?
Speaking of cat stuff, why did you go in the direction with the Dracula being kind of cat-like creatures?
Probably because I'm surrounded by cats. I understand cats.
Makes sense.
I can describe their facial expressions and stuff better. And yes, they do have facial expressions.
That makes sense.
No, because I was reading it and I was like, yeah, she's got lots of cool cats. And then especially the part where you say she wanted to bite or lick her, but if she was anything like a cat, she'd get hair in her mouth,
I don't molest my cats, just so you know. I'm not really into that. They're not bipedal or anything, so... Now, I have been molested by a cat.
Oh, God. That's just not right.
It's totally non-consensual.
Have you ever thought about, and I know this is kind of sounds like I'm kind of pushing into the realm of Laurel Hamilton with her paranormal series, but have you thought about doing any other kind of clans that are not vampires necessarily, but shapeshifters? I mean, I'm talking about for the Rosso Leggera, not the Cassandra Lyle, because you clearly have werewolves.
There's going to be more different types of shifters in the Lyle series.
Yeah.
I definitely plan on branching out there. I'm not so sure it fits in the Rosso world.
Okay, because I would just think that the whole cat thing made me think of you could have like were-leopards or were-panthers, that kind of thing.
I don't think they'd fit in with that series. I think that would fit more in, because even in Bloody Claws there is a were-leopard. Hunter was a clouded were-leopard.
Damn it, I have to go back and read that again. Not that that's a hardship, mind you, but I can't remember shit.
There's an awful threesome scene that you'll just have to toil through.
Oh, God. You know what I do for art, really, seriously.
All those hands and, like, fabric and nails.
Don't forget the fangs.
Oh, yeah, and the claws and the fangs, yeah.
Fun.
So, wow, cool. So, what the hell are you talking to us? Get right. No, I'm just kidding.
The thing that I thought was interesting with the branching out to seeing other kingdoms was how Epiphany is like a shiny little bauble that everybody's interested in looking at. Like the king, Augustine gives her a bat, tries to hold her hand during dinner, until Illyria comes up and pretty much gives him a unhand my woman kind of thing. And then Queen Helena looked at her like, ooh, what is this unusual, unique, little exotic thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think on Augustine's behalf, that it was more of a testing Renata sort of deal.
I saw that. I did see that in that.
And I don't think
He's
that...
sincerely interested in her as well.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said he seemed sincerely interested in her, like fascinated. Like he may have been like poking Renata and trying to see if he could get a rise out of her, but he found her fascinating, and even more so when he realized that she had been marked by Eliaria. Then he was like, ooh, 2 people I can press their buttons. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, but he didn't want to play that game with Eliaria.
Oh, hell no.
Very, very, proper and politic or whatever, but Eliaria was, more rip and arm off type.
What's that clicking?
Not me.
Is my laptop wobbling?
Might be, yeah. But yeah, I just love the hell out of Summoning Shadows, and I couldn't believe how fast I just ripped through that story.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, one of the things that I've read all of your BSB novels. I don't know if you have things published elsewhere, and like for me, the first 2 of the Cassandra Lal series, I read them, but I wasn't as enchanted, and my friend Adrian pushed me towards Darkness Embrace, and I was like, okay. And then I read, I was like, oh my God, when's the next one? It's like it was like lightning struck. And then like I read, I think you had written a short story that was holiday themed with the people from the Cassandra Lal one, and I loved that a lot, and I felt bad because we were reviewing it, I think, on like a Facebook page, and I was reading your story, and I'm like putting tons and tons of comments, and then realized as I read the other short stories that I simply am not as voluminous or as enamored, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Way to go for balance, Liz.
Well, people like what they like. There are going to be people out there that read the books and absolutely loathe it. And that's just, and then there will be people that absolutely love it. But, you're right for those people that love it.
Yeah. Well, if people loathe your books, they need to unfriend me on Facebook.
That's sweet.
I'm just saying right the fuck now, y'all listening, if you don't like winter shit, unfriend me on Facebook.
Well, I mean, after I read Darkness Embraced, I was proselytizing, telling everybody they got to get their hands on that shit because it's so good. And I'm like, the Dracula sex. And the thing is,
wait. How'd that go, Liz?
Yeah, do that again. Come on, you can do it.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Oh, God. I have the purr and Liz has the I love that. That's awesome.
Gotta have a gimmick.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But yeah, and the funny thing is, I read it again and I realized that it was the surprise that made it so erotic for me. It was the shock. Like, first we realize that there's something deadly in the halls. And then it turns into this bartering thing with sex. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen to Epiphany? And then it got really sexy. But I realized that it was the surprise, the power play, the negotiation, and then, of course, the love knot, dragna ghost. Is that how it's...
or nod to goste, sorry.
Yeah. I dyslexic that up, but it's what makes Eliarius
it's something. I wrote it.
Like yours, but more.
Yeah, no, I had her hate cut that. That's awesome.
Nod Dragoste.
Yep.
I need to stop writing such complicated words. It's good for not drinking.
Yeah, right. Good thing. Damn.
And Liz, I was going to tell you, you were talking about how you weren't really that enchanted with Witch Wolf and Raven Mask. I look back, and I'm not as impressed with them, because I wrote them when I was 21, and I have grown naturally as a writer, but they're still the right books. Like, if I had the chance to rewrite them, I don't think I would.
The reason why I brought it up in the first place is I have a tendency, if I like an author, I read all of their stuff. And usually there's consistency in the writing. There are, changes, people taking risks. But the reason why I brought it up for you in particular is that the first two, like, I read it because, like, I love paranormal fiction. And I was like, but then I read Darkness Embraced and Bloody Claws, and I was like, holy shit, you have, like, more than, it's almost like you had some kind of, did you juice up or something, because you went from being, to, oh dear God, this is amazing, I have to read this again, I have to get people to read this. And, it was a huge evolution, and I found that everything that I'd seen that you had published with Bold Strokes after that point had, so much more going on. The language is gorgeous, and like you said, you don't jam like a finger up a girl's arse. Like, you think of new ways of referring to things. Like, you're not talking about a raven-haired beauty. You figure out different ways to describe, like, her hair and how it spills and how it looks and the texture and the clothing. Giving it a much more sensual intro rather than something, not that they're tried and true ways to describing body parts and interactions, but you figure out a way to make it a little different, more nuanced. And, I'm just thoroughly impressed, especially with the language, because not a lot of authors really spend that much time artistically with it, or maybe it just doesn't come out of them as easily. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too, is that you have to avoid euphemisms, which sometimes I actually like a little euphemisms, but it's not really something that you will see a lot of in the publishing world, because you're supposed to steer clear of it. You can't compare the vagina to a nice, delicate flower and pearl and blah, blah. But sometimes, what euphemisms do work, in my opinion. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. But that's something that, like when writing Summoning Shadows, I can't do the poetic euphemisms. I have to find a way to put it bluntly, but not, what's the word, not making it vulgar. Mm-hmm. And, making it, there's a difference to me between erotica and pornography.
Yeah, fine line, too.
I mean, not to say that, like, that vulgar is bad in certain contexts. It's not. It can be a very good thing. It can be very provocative, very, pushing the boundaries, the envelope, and stuff like that. But with Epiphany as a character, she's not really the vulgar type.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was curious about, I know that two things about being a panster. How do you keep all of these elaborate things in your head, like, the hierarchy, the personalities, the interrelationships and whatnot, and also, like, do the love scenes happen in there because that's how things are flowing, or because you want that, like, do they serve a utility, like to let you know about more of the characters, or is it just the way that it happened as you were writing it?
Okay, what was the first question again? Sorry. How do I remember everything?
How do you keep all that in your head, girl? Because you have two series. You have different characteristics to the types of vampires that they are. Their environments are entirely different, from hiding in plain sight to having a underground network. And you have the nature of the elders, and then add to the mix the whole, almost like a spine work of different types of ways to have vampire kingdoms. And if you're a panster, how the hell do you not get confused? How do you keep it all?
Well, there are things that I have notes written down, but I'm so chaotic with them that I would be like jumping from toadstool to toadstool with them, like ending up in Wonderland, not knowing where the hell I'm at. I think what helps, a long time ago, about a year ago, I watched a show where they were talking about that the brain does not differentiate between a real memory and an imagined memory. And that when we imagine something like that, the brain tends to think that it really happened. And And I think that's how I remember my books, is because I get so into it and I feel with the characters and I'm there and I remember their faces and how they move and their expressions and stuff like that, and the way they dress, the way they smell, It's, kind of erotic, but
Wow.
that's my long-winded response, is that because when I go there, when I connect with that, it becomes a memory to me.
That's pretty cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's bad shit.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
One of the things that I read in the back of your jacket copy is your interest in nature-based religion, also in studying mythology.
Yes.
Because that piqued my interest when I was reading a section. Hold on. Here it is. Where she's talking about the descent of Inanna. Mm-hmm. And that was fascinating and very visual for me, and it kind of, cross-section with the collective unconscious, mm-hmm. Carl Jung. And I kept on seeing going down into subterranean levels and, Inanna going down there, and basically you can strip me of all my artifice, but I will maintain my integrity. And,
I love the story of Inanna. I love that symbolism of Ereshkigal, being her darker half, her sister, and having to be stripped down. And it's not really until you take all this crap off of you that you really get to the nitty-gritty of who you are. So it's hugely symbolic for modern day, I mm-hmm. think, too. Mm-hmm. For those of us discovering ourselves and
yep.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And shows so much how far Epiphany has come from mm-hmm. the ill woman that she was when first picked up to, somebody who is an elder, who, is no longer a scampering little mouse. And one of the things that Eliari had said, well, she never really was that. You may have interpreted her behavior that way, but she was being wily in another sense. And once she becomes an elder, she's able to finally, fully be who she is. And she's still testing, because, if you spend your life, 50 years of your life with Renata and being in that power range that has to do with her being your siren, she's also the queen, and she's your lover, to being able to say, yeah, I don't agree with you.
Oh, there was definitely one part in Darkness Embraced in the first book where Epiphany realized when she stood up to Gaspard that she had made herself a target. So the whole time, I think, what kept Epiphany from truly, being expressive in that regard and standing up for herself, and why she was so, kept to herself and, tiptoed like a mouse around things, is because of survival. Mm. She was not in a position where that she could really stand up for herself when she was an underling. Mm-hmm. The underlings don't get that privilege.
Mm. Where did you get the concept of the underling? It's the first time I've encountered it in a vampire book.
I have no. That's just one of those things.
No, but I liked it because it had the construct. It had, there's this. For 200 years, you have to, keep your nose clean and make no waves. And then you have to be able to stand up to all these amazingly talented older vampires. And you're either in or you're out.
See, my subconscious does like a lot of the working, or unconscious mind or whatever, and it makes sense when I look back on it for it to be that way. Because if it wasn't, you would have all these vampires constantly at each other's throats.
Mm, yeah.
So you have the group of the elders. They are the elders. They help run the clan. They are the protectors of the clan, or supposed to be. And then you have the underlings, who are pretty much the servants, the ones that are subservient and that do their bidding. And, they only get so many chances, or a chance to rise up in rank after 200 years type of thing. And so it's kind of almost like a population control mm-hmm. with positions. Mm-hmm. Am I making sense?
Yep.
Well, you also said in the book that they don't turn very many people.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
there's not as much competition for the food sources.
Yeah, so that's also another population control thing. Because you have to think about it. I mean, the Rosa Luxuria clans down in the Sato, which is underground, there are only going to be so many resources, aside from what the Cacciatori can go out and hunt.
What fascinated me was that the Donatori were all demolished, like to the point where they were like chopped meat on the wall.
Oh, that part was kind of gross.
Well, no, it was good. It was good because like you need to know what's going to gross a vampire out. Like they do have their limits. Like,
Yeah.
But what I thought was really interesting was because you had set it up probably in your Panster wonderfulness that it was done by magic and could be undone by magic, because and that helped along the story rather than introducing Vasco's son and whatnot. But if they had to like struggle for replacing the Donatori, that would have stalled the book.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought it was brilliant that, they demolished them, but also that it wasn't like, ecclesiastic whiteout or anything. There were people whose minds were far too broken to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting,
I don't think
too.
a situation like that, having pretty much been ground hamburger on the walls,
Right?
there'll be some people that are going to not come back quite right.
Yep.
Magic, no.
Magic can only go so far.
Right.
But I like that because it lends, even though things are magically inclined, just
And
the nature of our minds, we need some realism in there.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
it can't be like a perfect fix.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, there's never a perfect fix. Even, and the thing is that books have to be more believable than reality.
Yeah, isn't that something?
A lot of the time.
Yep.
You really have to have, especially when you write the preternatural stuff, is you really have to have your foundation. And then branch from there. You can't just be like, unicorn out of my ass, nay.
Oh, wait, is that next?
I might write about that, yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
If I feel like it. Oh, the mighty horn.
Yeah, but you'll pull it off. The mighty horn. Come on, get the hell out.
I might get you into unicorn sex.
Oh, my. Woo! Come on now.
I see like a graphic My Little Pony novel coming out.
Oh, no, don't go there. Come on now.
No, there have been people that write, like the adult fan. I can't stop doing that to ponies. The lesbian stuff is okay. It's funny. I can handle that. But there are people that write, like, crossover, like, human pony stuff. And
What?
it's going a little too far, guys.
Oh, yeah, that's over the line right there.
Bestiality, you mean?
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
That, no, mm-mm.
So it did make me think, what really is the difference when I write about werewolves and a vampire? But the difference is the fact that the werewolf doesn't have to be a werewolf. It can still be semi-person,
Sure, could be still have the garb of a human, if you will, I guess.
But then again, Eliaria was in Dracula form a couple of times.
Yeah, but that was hot, sister.
Yeah, that bit.
Yeah, that was hot.
Does it make sense that it sounds more adult and normal? Even though, like, Illyria is a Dracul, it's different than having a relationship with a horse or a pony or, they have magical qualities or things that are not human, but I think that more often than not, people will search out patterns and see the humanity in the two characters being together. And liking the little bestial qualities that let you go outside of what's normally acceptable for just a average, everyday human.
That's kind of like a Steppenwolf type of thing, too, recognizing the animal and humanity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We have our instincts. We have, stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm going to pause that there before I go over the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah, don't jump over now. Come on, just saying.
Yeah, there's a huge difference because, I could not go there. I don't think I could ride a horse shapeshifter. That would be way...
A little over the bounds for you, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like the horse mouth, I don't think I like describing that.
I understand
What
completely.
about the centaurs?
She kissed like a horse is truly not a compliment.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so, no. Or having a horse face.
A little spin on it.
Yeah.
The werehorse does actually kiss like a horse.
Yeah, no. Doesn't sound sexy to me, just saying.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No, the reason that I like the Dracula so much is because they are more the stuff of like the Fey nightmarish type of thing, but there is that thread in them of the divine and of the human.
Mm-hmm. I love those characters. I really do.
Yeah.
I have a random question for you. I noticed that Morena, Ilyaria, and Renata all have these really unique eyes where, one had, whether they'd be gold shot with black or red, like you described it, like red roses shot with, black, or, the dual-colored quality of Renata's. And I was wondering, I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be something you know the answer to, but is that something acquired, being a preternatural person, a vampire or Dracul, or is that just something that fit, that they just happen to be born with them?
I think that's more, I guess, my influence on my main character standing out. I mean, Vasco has very beautiful eyes too.
Oh yes, and so
really,
it's the wild quality of those three characters.
Yeah,
that
Renata has the two-toned, the light blue and then the dark blue eyes and stuff like that. The Dracula, I really wanted to have. When I saw Ilyaria, I just saw those eyes and I'm like, that is wicked cool. They could definitely have like the veiny-looking eyes with like the lightning strokes and stuff, because that sets them apart as Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
And you did so much with like the descriptors for the colors. Like you didn't always like fall back on the same, not analogies, but you weren't falling back on the same metaphors or similes. You continue to talk about their striking nature, but it wasn't just like the repetition of a particular shape.
Trying to be redundant. I can't stand it when like I'll be reading something and it will seem like someone was like, okay, go back to this chapter, copy, paste.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that is not. Yeah, that's not enjoyable.
I mean, you're always going to have, your little threads of redundancy from an author here and there, and that's completely and totally understandable. But when it looks like you copied something from chapters back there and put it here, that's just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I don't know if you just heard that, but like I live at the beach, and there are fireworks going on in the background. So if you hear the pop, 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 pop sound, it's like, yeah.
Well, at least we know you're not living in the hood and have to duck.
God.
That is useful.
Just saying.
That is, because I know how sensitive these mics are, and so I was like, oh great. I wonder how long that's going to last, and will there be a finale? It's going to get really noisy.
That's awesome. No, I couldn't hear it, though.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure, because I heard it in the background. I was like, oh, dear.
Oh, yeah. Sounds pretty good.
You can probably hear my air conditioning.
Yeah, actually, your mic picks up a lot more.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I'm not gassy.
Good thing. Holy crap. Oh, goodness. Well, Liz, you got anything else?
No, I'm golden. I've covered everything.
She's tapped out.
I don't know. Liz, you said you read the short stories. Did you read Once Upon a Twilight?
I've only read the one. Now I'm blanking on the actual name of the series, but I think it was a Thanksgiving thing, a Thanksgiving dinner, and with Cassandra Lal. Those characters. I didn't read Women of the Dark Streets yet. I don't have that. I have, but I haven't read it yet.
There's some good stories in Women of the Dark Streets. I highly recommend it for anyone that's into paranormal stuff.
Yeah, I have it lying in wait for when I have one of those. I must have some little bit of preternatural fun, but don't have the time to read an entire novel.
Well, Once Upon a Twilight wasn't a short story. It was actually a novella that I did, and I may be doing some more along those lines.
Nice.
Cool. Oh yes, actually, I remember seeing it on you mentioning it on Facebook. Now that it's in my brain, definitely something that I'm interested in.
And for our listeners, they can get it at Bold Strokes?
yeah, boldstrokesbooks.com and any other bookstore, really.
Awesome. That's great. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Can you believe an hour has almost passed?
Nope.
I mean,
It all started with some dirty talk.
I know.
I knew it was going to.
It always does.
Down tonight, I would have won it.
We're so predictable.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the cocktail hour. Time to go talk about smut.
But
Not complaining.
Oh, okay, good. But before we retire, we need to play Who Would You Fuck?
Oh, God.
You know, our favorite game ever.
Oh.
My name is, I'm still like with my first choice, which is Ilyaria, hands down.
Oh, look at you, badass.
I want her to fuck my shit up and make me happy.
Yeah, well, yeah, you and me both will be fighting over Ilyaria. That's for sure, no doubt. No doubt. I like that character myself because I want to have some of that fur. I'm just saying.
Screw the fur. I want that node.
Oh, lordy.
Its little sucking sensation. I want to know what that feels like.
Ah, that'd be good. Oh, lordy. So, Winter,
Yes.
you're up. Who would you fuck?
Do I have to pick out of my book?
Yes, of course.
Honestly, does it have to be out of the Rosso series?
Nope.
No.
I have to go with Lenore.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
I'd also go for Eris, by the way.
Oh, yes, Eris.
Well, Eris would be a hell of a lot of fun. Renata would be a hell of a lot of fun. Ilyaria would be a hell of a lot of fun. But I would settle down with Lenore.
Nice, nice.
I see that. You know what? And I see, you know, from my perspective, I see her as much more loving than Renata. I don't think Renata has it in her to be quite like that. And Lenore seems to be a lot more sensitive to the mercurial moods of Cassandra. And I like them. I like them as a couple, and not just because they live in the natural world, but because they, you know, they seem normal even in the context of a paranormal romance.
The one thing, you know, I'm a little bit in love with Lenore myself because she's so Lenore.
She's so Lenore.
Accepting, open-minded, compassionate, patient for the most part, but then she knows when to push, so yeah, there's a lot of winning things that I'd have to go with Lenore.
Wow, well, you heard it here.
Yep. But that's like making me throw away babies.
No throwing away babies. No. All right. Well, this has been a very fun show. Thank you for coming on, Winter, and thank you for co-hosting Liz.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Liz, are you going to outro with the My Little Pony song?
My Little Pony. No, just kidding.
Oh, and I'm sure at some point we'll have you back, Winter, because, you know, you're one of our favorites.
Thank you. Have a good night, you two.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.